Well, hey folks, my name is Brad. Welcome to another Green Mountain vlog. If you happen to be new to these, between the months of November and May, every other week, I'm publishing a metal detecting video with these vlogs in between. And in today's vlog, a couple updates and a great trip that my family went on to Howe Caverns in New York. Now, first update. Some of you may have noticed that the metal detecting video that I posted last week was a rerun from way back in, I believe it was 2017. A classic Green Mountain adventure with our friend Eddie up into the mountains on a four-wheeler. Unfortunately, I had to post that because I have run out of metal detecting videos. Next week will likely be another rerun. I'm going to try my best to sift through the archives and find one that folks haven't seen in a very long time or is special in some way. But next weekend, weather permitting, I will be going out to the coast of Massachusetts to film several metal detecting videos so that I can actually publish something new. Here in Vermont, it has been bitter cold. I think we got about a foot of snow over the weekend. Not ideal conditions for metal detecting, so I'm really looking forward to that trip coming up. Now, finally, I want to give what very tentatively is going to say one of the last health updates. Some of you may know, back in September, I fell ill with a mysterious neurological illness which prevented me from filming any metal detecting content from September all the way up to maybe December. I was able to get out a couple times, and I have run the gamut of what it could be. I've taken all of the tests, MRIs and EKGs and all the blood tests you can imagine, and we've talked about Lyme disease and talked about long COVID, and we've talked about all of the very mysterious illnesses it could be. Until this last weekend, I had an MRI on my neck and my cervical spine, and it seems I have some disc issues, which could very likely be causing all of the tingling and brain fog and the neurological things I've been experiencing. So I guess physical therapy and some stretches and some exercises, and hopefully we can get that resolved. What that means for metal detecting videos is right now I'm feeling pretty good. But I am going to have to probably carry less stuff on my back and maybe shorter days. You know, problem has been on my right side, holding a metal detector in my right arm, swinging it back and forth for a decade probably contributed to that. But I am going to do my best to maintain business as usual from this point on. So unless anything crazy happens, this will be probably the final health update with that. I'm feeling much better, and I hope to continue to feel better. That being said, I hope you enjoyed today's vlog with my family at Howe Caverns. I'll see you next week.
My name's Lester Howe, and I discovered Howe Caverns on May 22nd, 1842. Of course, it wasn't called Howe Caverns then. I had heard of the mysterious blowing rock about 10 miles west of the Schoharie River, someplace smack in the middle of my dairy farm. Or so I hoped. One day, I followed my cows to the place they always stood to pasture. That spot they came to was not on my own farm, but on the land of my neighbor, Mr. Henry Wetzel. So I followed them up that day and came upon this new place they favored for their daily ration of standing round and chewing their cud. When from the midst of an overgrown old heap of limestone, I felt that breeze come from deep below the earth, plus the blowing rock to be sure. Pulling the bushes aside and peering in, I saw how deep the opening was. 100 feet if it was anything. And so I made my way back to the opening with a lamp and a good length of rope. I tied the rope to a rock and lowered myself into the entrance. One look around made me realize that this was no ordinary place. It was something truly amazing. I went back every day for weeks, many times with my friend Wetzel, who owned the place. We went deeper and deeper each time, discovering things that we could never imagine: formations, giant chambers, lakes, and rivers. I was purely smitten by the place, so I bought it from Wetzel for a handsome sum of $100 cash. A shrewd deal, you will agree. Best investment I ever made. I traveled there day after day to explore further and further inside until I knew the place from one end to the other. You'll be headed 156 feet down in up-to-date and entirely safe mechanical elevators of my own design, of course. Once down below, you'll hear the rush of the river Styx. See the Rocky Mountains, the astounding Chinese pagoda inside the magnificent Titan's temple, incredible formations like the Great Turtle, pipe walking, the lovely Pool of Peace, and enjoy a remarkable boat ride on the romantic Lake of Venus. Maybe some of you sweethearts will get inspired to make things official at the bridal altar later on. If you regret your decision, you can always get separated in the twists and curves of the winding way. If I may say, it's going to be a journey you never forget. Savor your time in these timeless caves, and I hope I'll see you again soon at Howe Caverns. Enjoy your tour.
So right around 10,000 years ago, during the last ice age, a mile-thick glacier caused drastic changes in temperature, pressure, and humidity, which did cause some rocks to fall, like this guy right here. He was once on the ceiling right around here, but now he has fallen and he's balancing on 1 square foot of rock right here. So we call him the balancing rock. You look right behind you. This one up here is a stalagmite because it sticks tight to the ceiling. This one right here is a stalagmite because you might trip over it. And this right here is flowstone because it flows down the wall. So the next thing I want to point out to you guys is right over this railing. This is one of the larger formations that you will see today. We call it the Great Turtle, or another name that we call him is Henry. This is Henry's giant shell. He's got a little tail over here. His arm is right here, but he is a little shy, so his head is in that rock. He's a great example of inactive flowstone because he grew so big, he cut off his own water supply up here. And we know that that's his water supply because all the ripples on his back lead right up to it. And our friend Henry the Turtle helps us decide if we're allowed to have tours for the day or not. If the water level gets up to this stalagmite, that means we have to shut down the boat ride for the day because the dock will be completely flooded. But if the water level gets up to this stalagmite, that means we have to shut down the tours for the day because most of our walkways will be flooded. In 1938, during the hurricanes, the Long Island Express, the water level got up to this flat surface here. So this right here is what we call the island, and here on the island view 2 of our formations. This one right here is a stalagmite with a very special name. We call it the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And then this one right here is a stalactite with many, many different names, like the Howling Wolf, the Praying Hands, the Upside Down Ice Cream Cone, and even a Christmas tree. Now you may be wondering, why is there a stalactite here on the ground instead of hanging from the ceiling? Well, we found these 2 formations broken off, so we decided to bring them here as a great display. And because these formations are already inactive, it's completely safe for you to touch these formations because you will do absolutely no damage to them. Just remember that these are the only 2 formations throughout the entire caverns that you're allowed to touch. So if you want to touch them and take pictures, go ahead. If not, you can meet me on the other side of the island. So this right here is the Lake of Venus. It is 1/8 mile long or quarter-mile round trip. The depth of the water ranges from 2 to 6 feet deep, and there's a 6-foot flowstone dam blocking all the water. altar, the very first two weddings that were held here in the caverns were held in the bridal chamber near the natural entrance of the cave, and that was Lester Howe's own two daughters in the 1850s. Since we've opened in 1929, we've had a lot of weddings here. 743 weddings held right here at this bridal altar.
Wow.
And as you can tell, there's a giant calcite heart right here in front of me. We found a chunk of calcite in a nearby stream bed, so we decided to bring it here, carved out as a heart that is 6 inches deep, and then place it on top of the light bulb to show how translucent calcite is.
Oh my goodness.
There are a few myths that go along with this heart. First one is if you're married and you step on it with your loved one, you'll have another honeymoon within a year. Not paid by Howe Caverns. Second one is if you're old enough to get married but not married and you step on this heart, you'll be married within a year. And last one is if you're not old enough to get married and you step on this heart, you'll have good luck for a year.